welcome to this week's lecture on leadership and its theories. In the past 2 weeks, we had discussed in details about organizational change and management, and previous to that, we have discussed about the staffing techniques elaborately. This week, we are going to discuss on leadership, team building, the motivation and communication, and in the following week we'll be discussing on controlling and budgeting and reporting. So let us begin for this week's discussion. Now, why we are discussing leadership over here is of all the principles of management that we have learned till now, like whether it is planning or organizing or staffing or coordinating, the leader plays a very important role in doing all these activities for the organization, or whether are they bringing in change. So here you'll find a prominent role of leader in all these activities. So it is very essential to understand the different theories of leadership and the essential styles that you get to see in terms of uncertainties. So this week's discussion is going to focus around that. So this will be an half an hour lecture on, I'll try to cover mostly of the different topics which are there. But as you understand, leadership is a very vast topic to be discussed. So what we'll do is we'll put the slides for your reading material, and you can see at your leisure time to find out more details about the concepts of leadership and different styles of leadership. So let us begin. So what is leadership? Why we are learning this? According to Charles Hale and McShane, leading and developing employees is one of the most important function of management, in which, in other term, is leadership has a significant role to play in the organizational management. Strategic leadership brings value through individuals' ability to identify both opportunity and risk in the organization management. It has also been utilizing strategy in the management of employees, which is very important to learn. That's why it's very important to learn about what strategic leadership is. Leadership, as we understand, is the process of encouraging and helping others to work enthusiastically towards the objectives. So as we had seen in the OD techniques, as we have seen in the staffing principles, everywhere it is talking of the voluntary contribution of the employees towards achieving the organizational objectives. It should not be thrusted upon them. They should not feel like they're compelled to do it, but they should come forward to contribute voluntarily towards the objectives of the organization. The beauty of the leadership is it is a process which should encourage and help others to work enthusiastically towards the objectives of the organization, and in the process also reach their own goals of life. Management, on the other hand, is the use of authority inherent in the designated formal rank to obtain compliance from organizational members. So there is a subtle difference when you talk of who is a manager and who is a leader, and leadership is more, we are focusing on the process of encouraging and helping others to work. So now we are going to discuss in some details the difference between who is a leader and who is a manager, so that you will be able to understand the finer differences between these two processes. So when you're talking of the culture and the essence, the leader is focused towards change, but the manager is focused towards stability. The focus of the leader is on leading people, while that the manager is on managing work. What the leader have is followers, and what the manager have is subordinates. The vision or the horizon timeline of the leader, the focus is on long-term vision, and for the manager it is short-term vision. What the leader seeks is vision, and the objective the manager seeks is objectives. The approach of the leader is it, he or she sets direction and the manager plans the details. The decision taken by the leader is facilitates the processes and the manager makes the processes. The power of the leader lies in that of personal charisma, and that of the manager lies in formal authority. The leader always appeals to the heart of the followers, and the manager appeals to the head of the followers. The style taken by the leader is that of the transformational style, and that of the manager is that of a transactional style. The leader wants achievement, and the manager wants results. In terms of risk orientation, a leader is always taking a risk, and the focus of the manager is towards minimizing the risk. The concern of the leader is what is right, and the manager is more concerned about being right. In ambiguous situation, the leader tries to interpret the world for their teams, and the manager really tries to shut down the ambiguity and maintain the stability or the status quo. So that you see like how a leader functions and how a manager functions depends on two different orientations of looking at the problem, where leader is more focused towards being more pro to change and answer to the ambiguity, appeal to the heart of the person, has a long term vision in transformational in nature and helps in bringing achievement for the individual as well as the organizational goal, is focused towards the excellence of the organization and towards the person. And it is very important to learn these leadership qualities so that you are able to lead your team and your organization properly through the process of change, and you are to design your organization properly in terms of coordinating, in terms of planning for the future, and then you have to move ahead and get achieve for the excellence of the organization. Actually, as a person who is a good leader, you should be having a blend of uh, both managerial qualities and leadership qualities in right proportion, so that you are able to like move through the organization or lead your organization in a proper way. With that focus only here, we'll put over here like though the course is on principles of management and where we are trying to learn some of the principles of how to manage things properly, but still we are balancing the course with a lot of discussions on leadership, motivation, organizational change, and change initiatives, because it is only a perfect blend of the leadership and the managerial qualities which is going to make you successfully implement changes in your organization, run the day to day operations in a proper way, and lead your organization towards the height which is going to make it sustainable in future. With that focus only, we have designed our course in this way, which is going to, after completing this course, so that you become a perfect blend of both being a leader and a manager. So, moving ahead, we will learn about the essence of leadership qualities. The essence of leadership lies in the ability of the individual to influence others. We have learned about nudging techniques also. So, like how to nudge people properly is one of the important qualities of leadership. The influence is exercised to change the behavior of others. Behavior is changed through non coercive means. Change of behavior is caused with an objective of achieving the shared goals. The persons influencing others possess a set of qualities or characteristics which he or she uses to influence others. Leadership is a group phenomena. It involves interaction between two or more people. So, as you see over here in this diagram, as the leadership process, the leader, through non coercive manner, influence the followers and who direct their energy towards the goal. And this goal is also a mixture of the individual's goal and the organization's goal. And because it is a coercive influence, the followers also give a feedback to the leader. So, and in this way, like how they felt about his or her behavior, what needs to be modified, etc. And then the leader, again, based on that feedback, changes his styles or techniques and then moves forward. The importance of leadership in organizational management are: it helps in influencing the behavior of people, helps the employees in fulfilling their needs, introducing required changes, solving conflicts effectively, training and development of subordinates, setting a clear vision, motivating and guiding employees, and building a morale. So, some of the basic issues of development of leadership is that, like in dynamic markets or in understanding customers, utilize the benefits of digitization. So, thinking and acting in system, skills and methods for learning by reflection, agile project management, a balance between openness and confidentiality in communication act processes. So, these are some of the qualities that are required, and then professional skill development, project based learning, and experiential settings, like along with this critical learning techniques, is going to develop the person as a leader. So, we need to have these qualities to understand like how to function as a leader properly. These are the different styles of leadership listed over here, like the democratic leadership or participative leadership, transactional leadership who helps in the day-to-day functioning of the organization, autocratic leaders who like sometimes forces views on others, bureaucratic leadership, charismatic, then laissez-faire leadership, strategic leadership. We have already discussed a bit about strategic leadership. Transformational leadership, when you have discussed about organizational change, we have discussed about the role of leaders in bringing out the organizational changes from one stage of development to the next stage of development. And then formal and informal leadership. So this we have already discussed elaborate in these slides, like and we'll be putting it in the as a reading material. Next we'll come to the functions of leadership. So, as we understand, leaders develop teamwork. Leader is a representative of the subordinates. Leader is a counselor and uses power properly. The leader manages the time well. They strive for effectiveness, takes the initiative in catalyzing, representing, inspiring followers, and praising. So, as you see, like we can talk of leadership as like lead your ship. So, when it is going through troubled water, the leader is a person who handholds others to move through this troubled time and shows the way to others. So, leader is a counselor, is a representative of the subordinates. So, these are some of the important functions of a good leader. The theories of leadership include the trait theories by Thomas Carlyle, need theory of Maslow and McClelland, behavioral theories of leadership, contingency theories, Hershey and Blanchard's situational leadership theory, and VUCA opportunities by Warren Bennis and Bart Nanas. So, we'll elaborate on each of these theories and try to discuss on it. The trait theories of leadership by Thomas Carlyle, which are the theories which consider personality, social, physical, or intellectual traits to differentiate leaders from non-leaders. Some of the leadership traits are extroversion, conscientiousness, openness, and emotional intelligence. Some of the assumptions which are related to the trait theories are that like the leaders are born, because these are taken to be inherent qualities with which a like person is born and grows up. The goal is then to select leaders. So, some of the problems of these theories are that traits do not generalize across situations. It is better at predicting leader emergence rather than leader effectiveness. Then we have the need theories, where we have the three need theories by McClelland and need hierarchical theory by Maslow. Abraham Maslow gave a like hierarchy of needs, where you find at the basic level is the physiological need, then safety needs, social esteem, and self esteem needs. Social esteem and self actualization needs. McClelland has given like it starts at the social level from need for affiliation, need for power, and need for achievement when you're talking of self esteem and self actualization. The behavioral theories of leadership are that proposes like specific behaviors differentiate leaders from non leaders. So, behavioral theory believes that the leadership behaviors can be taught, whereas the trait theories believe that the leaders are born, not made. The behavioral approach to leadership are the Ohio State studies and the University of Michigan studies, which talks of initiating structure and production orientation, consideration or employee orientation. The assumption, basic assumption over here is that leaders can be trained and the goal is to develop leaders. Problem is effective behaviors again do not generalize across situations. That's why when you see like the traits are also cannot generalize across situations, or behavior also cannot generalize across situations. Next, we have a very important group of theories which we call contingency theories, which are more realistic oriented. Like when you're talking of the bringing in organizational changes, whenever you're bringing in like staffing and bringing in changes in the maybe the organizational structure and design, and like trying to find out the competency in people. So we have to adapt these leadership styles as guided by the contingency theories and the next set of theories to follow. So the Fiedler's model postulates that the effectiveness of a leader depends upon his motivational style. Some are authoritarian in their approach and others are relations motivated, that is, believe in getting along with others, and also the favorableness of the situation. It is the extent to which the leaders have control over their situation. Leaders are motivated either by interpersonal relations or task goal accomplishment. The Fiedler model, and which talks about the leadership style is fixed, like whether the person is either task oriented or leadership relationship oriented, and accordingly whether it's a situational favorableness for the leader, like leader member relations, task structure, and position power, which will tell whether the task oriented leader is appropriate in this particular combination of situations or a relationship oriented leader. The degree of confidence, trust, and respect subordinates have in their leader defines the leader member relations. The task structure is the degree to which the job assignments are procedurized, and the position power is the influence derived from one's formal structural position in the organization. It includes the power to hire, fire, discipline, promote, and give salary increases. So, as we see over there, the combination of these techniques, we are not telling like this style is good or that style is bad, but as per the need of the situation, as per the nature of the followers, as per the nature of the task that you have at hand, some styles are more effective in this combination as compared to the other style. So, the situational theory of leadership given by Hershey and Blanchard, it talks of, it is also a contingency theory, but here also it focuses on the followers' readiness. So, and that is whether they are more willing and able to learn something, to do something, and the and to explore with something. So in that case, if they're more willing and able, so there is a less need for direct supervision by the leader. So when we see like the mm, amount of follower readiness is very low, then what you find, amount of leaders support and supervision required is very high. But when the amount of follower readiness becomes high, the amount of leader support and supervision generally decreases. So it is very important for the change initiator, change leader, to understand the amount of readiness that a particular person, individual may be having, because that will help that person to tune with whether the how much direct supervision the person will require, or how much autonomy the person needs to be given, so that he or she will love to function on his or her own. So as we see, like as the follower readiness increases, the amount of leadership support and supervision required is gradually decreasing. We will see that the leadership styles also depends on the willingness and unwillingness of the follower, and the able, whether the follower is able or unable to do certain things. If the follower is able and unwilling, then a supportive and participative leadership is going to help. If the follower is able and willing, then only given some directive is important, and the leaders can very well delegate the responsibilities to the followers. If the follower is unable and willing, then mm, you can coach the person, you can sell your ideas and help the person to, for a hand holding support to do the things. If the person is both unable and unwilling, then you have, the leader has to tell the follower what to do, and give him or her correct directions, and they have to direct, like you have to do this and you have to do that. So as you see that, based on the willingness of the person to participate for the organizational objectives, combined with the ability of the person to do certain things as per the expectations of the particular role, so that will change the leadership style. For the different cases, based on the followers' readiness, the leader is supposed to take different leadership styles. We have already discussed VUCA situations earlier while we were discussing organizational change, if you remember, and when the VUCA situation arises, which is the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, it brings in new challenges for learning and development. So, we can tell, like, instead of volatility, uncertainty, and complexity and ambiguity, we can tell the volatility yields to vision, uncertainty yields to understanding, complexity can be opposed by the clarity of purpose, and ambiguity yields to agility or adaptability. So, leading through the VUCA time really requires some leadership competencies which are very important. That's why we have thought of keeping a separate discussion on it over here, which is like uh, in complex situations, like we have tried to find out, like in complex situations or in ambiguous situations, in volatile situations, in uncertain situations, what are the qualities required. So what you find is like whether it be listening or speaking, or whether what is the philosophy that you follow, or what are the values that you follow. So these are things which will be guiding you. So like in complex situations, the style required is be direct. Transparency in information communicated and received will gain mutual trust and collaborative efforts. In ambiguous situations, it is very important to be understandable in ambiguous situations. Clarity in purpose, direction, and responsibilities will empower others. Be reliable in volatile situations. Follow through on what is said and agreed to will accelerate positive momentum. Be trustworthy is in uncertain situations. It is to be invested in people, keep teams engaged, involve partners, seek to understand, speak to be understood, act with respect always. These are the values which needs to be followed. And if we take these kind of leadership styles in the different, as per the, whether it is a complex situations, whether it is volatile situations, uncertain situations and all, we are going to lead through these situations and move to a better world of like developing a proper vision, clarity of purpose, and becoming more agile. So, what has the shift occurred in the VUCA world is that, so from like the single person at the top who is knowing everything, so it is a single person who within a team who is exploring everything. So it was from leading by delegation to the concept of shared leadership. So everybody can be leader based on the competencies people have. Any one person can emerge as a leader. This we are going to discuss in more details while we are discussing group behavior next, and we are discussing on team roles, where we what we get to see, like in a team there are 8 to 9 different roles, and based on your competencies, your personality pattern, your values, your preferences, you can take up any role which suits you. And so in that way it really talks of shared leadership. So from status to the role, from hierarchy a shift towards network, and from added value of leadership, which is the shareholder value, to added value of leadership, which is coordination of efficient and open-ended processes. So with this we'll end over here, and we hope like the discussions that we have made between like the functions of and theories of leadership and the different aspects of leadership has helped you to understand or get an overall idea of what the leadership theories are and what are the different styles are. In the next, we are going to discuss on team development and teamwork. Thank you till then.